name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. And you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild, and this is a little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing Cross on Prime, and we are sipping on Kahlua, cream de cacao, and oat milk. So I want y'all to take a journey with me, okay? We're taking a journey into the dimension of Alex Cross, and we're going into the land of the giants. Nigga. Y'all getting a double feature today. I binge watched this shit. I was just like, these niggas are big and beautiful, and that's all I was going on about for the first episode. I was like, they're humongous. No, so we got Aldous Hodge, and we got that nigga that played what is that soap and stuff? Old Spice, the Old Spice nigga. We got Aldous Hodge and the Old Spice nigga, and they are partners. This nigga, I had to look it up. This nigga Aldous Hodge is 6'1". Old Spice nigga look like he about 6'3", 6'4", maybe tipping 6'5". Oh God. And then so like everybody around them has to be tall too to make it look like, for the filming situation. And so it's like these tall black women, this is the world of the giants, and it feels so validating. No, because I'm 5'9", tipping close to 5'10". I'm on the closer to the 5'10" side of 5'9". I'm like a couple inches away from 5'10". Probably with my hair, I am 5'10". And like, I had to realize, like, I think I started to realize when Megan Thee Stallion started to be famous, like how big I look amongst the rest of people. And I didn't realize how big I looked amongst the rest of the people until I started seeing pictures, because she's about my height. And I started seeing pictures of her around, shorter folks. And I was just like, is that how I be looking? Like hella big and shit like this? And it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't want to be short. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with short people, but I don't want to be short. No. But then I started looking around me and realizing that literally most of the time when I'm moving through the world, most people are clocking maybe like between 5'5" and 5'7" on average. And so I'm not super tall. Like, I know women that are like 6'3", 6'4" and shit that I used to hang out. And I think that was a part of it too, because I used to hang out with black women that were like 6'3", 6'4". My mom's tall. My aunts and uncles are tall. I think my grandmother and my aunt were the only short ones in our family. And like, so when I was growing up, I was used to seeing tall people. And so like, it really didn't hit me how big I looked in the world until like I started seeing pictures of Megan Thee Stallion, and I became more self-aware, and I was just like, I am humongous everywhere I go. Like, this shit is weird. No wonder people be looking at me all crazy and shit when I walk in a room, especially when I'm dressed nice and shit, because everybody else littler. Most of the people is smaller, and I'll just be like, wow. And so to see a world where most of the people are tall and it's a rare short even the villain is tall. The victim that the villain kidnaps is tall. Everybody tall and shit. So I was just like, this is amazing. And like, I didn't read the only James Patterson books that I've read is Maximum Overdrive. That's the one with the little teenage girl, and she's like a mutant, and she has angel wings, and she escaped from a facility with her other friends that have angel wings, and they trying to escape from these niggas that trying to like mutate. It's a whole thing. That was the only James Patterson book that I've ever read. But I have seen Kiss the Girls and the other one that Morgan Freeman was in. So I knew Alex Cross from Morgan Freeman. And then I think Tyler Perry was doing something, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, why does his hair look like that? And then I never saw I never watched that shit. I was just like, why you got this shit looking like that? And so this show has rocked my motherfucking world. I was just like, yes, nigga. It low-key made me want to read the book, but the books be too swirly. I don't like a swirl. I don't like a swirl. And so to see him kissing on his black woman, and she dark skinned and she tall, and even if they don't last, and then the wife that dies in the beginning, she's like tall and darker skin and kinky, and I was just like, this is amazing. What dimension? So we're gonna review this as if it's another dimension, and he is a superhero in this dimension, nigga. Like, he's a vigilante. So let's get, so Alex Cross is a forensic psychologist, and he works for the police department. And I think he's about to take a leave of absence because in the beginning, like, he was hanging out with his homeboy Michelin Man. I keep wanting to say Michelin Man, Old Spice nigga, and and they was hanging out with their girls at this little patio food eatery situation. And the girls get up to go get something to eat, and someone shoots his wife and kills her cold-blooded. And so he had to rock her to death, basically. And it's so horrible. And so he's traumatized this whole show, and I dug it all the way up until like the fourth or fifth episode, when he just started fucking up his kids' mental health and everybody else that interacted with him. He's getting into fights, he's angry, and everybody keep telling him to go to therapy, and he keep telling them no. And I'm just like, how? I give you about, some shit happened, some extreme shit happened, I give you about 6 months to be in the deepest depths of it. Just horror, and usually, technically, therapists give you about 2 months of deep depths of grief after somebody dies before we say you're depressed. And so I give you about 6 months. To be in the deepest depths mean like cutting off the hair, angry outbursts, sleeping all day, over all the shit you do when you in an extreme place of mental health, to just not take care of yourself and let yourself be sad. But after that, I'm just, so when are we going to therapy? When are we going to work on this? Because you can't spend the rest of your life in the bed. Like, what are we doing? I think that's generous. I feel like that's generous because I've lost a shit ton of people, and I just feel like, yeah, I needed some time to heal, but like, to be in the deepest depths where you're ruining your fucking life, nah, nigga, like, that ain't gonna last too long with me. Like, I can't be up in here adding extra shit to my mental health. Ruining my shit. So the whole episode, like the whole series, he's like grieving his wife. And like, after his wife dies, we catch him in another scene where he's like, telling this racist nigga what he's doing, the whole like Sherlock Holmes, I can read your mind type of shit, like the way your eye twitch and the shit you say and da 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 da. And I'm just like, this nigga is fine. I looked it up to, this nigga's married. I hope his wife is a lucky. And I'm like, that's why I don't know if I could date a famous person, like a movie star and shit, because I just feel like, no, because he was fucking touching them bitches' titties in real life, okay? He grabbed that bitch's titties in real fucking life while how many takes did it take for you to be rubbing on her titties while you did that scene? You tell me. How many takes did it take for you to be touching and kissing on this bitch? See, I don't have the mental health for that. I need you to be loyal and shit. Like, I seen action movies where niggas didn't fuck no bitches and shit. Whatever. See, something wrong with me. Niggas gonna be like, that's his job. His job is to touch on a bitch titties. Okay. That's his job. Anyways, so, come to find out, this neighborhood activist gets murdered, right? And they show like a little sequence of him. Somebody's cutting his hair off. He had locks and all this. So the black people in the hood are just really upset. They're like, they found him in a car with his eyes open and he's bald and stuff like that. And the neighborhood activist is upset. Like, he live in the hood still, like with his grandmother. He was raised by his grandmother, and I think his parents died or some shit like that. So he live in the hood with his grandmother in a nice little house. Grandmother bad bitch too. She was beating a nigga with a bat. I was like, I know the fuck, bitch. Anyway, so there's two villains in the show, right? So one is stalking him and taunting him about his dead wife, and then the other one is the one that is kidnapping motherfuckers and killing them and shit, right? So he trying to find out who killed this black dude, while at the same time getting messages and random phone calls and recordings of his phone call to the police when his wife got shot and shit like that, right? And so, come to find out, the dude that's killing everybody is this white man that's Ramsey something. And he's doing it because he wants to do this weird ass sociopathic masterpiece where he wants to kill all the people that look like the old school serial killers like Ted Bundy and shit. And his piece resistance is Eileen Warnos and shit. And so he find a bitch that look like Eileen Warnos and then he stalk her and shit. And I'm just like, this is why you can't go. Like, this is my greatest fear. You go to a nigga house and you end up in his basement city that he has been plotting and planning to put you in. Because he doesn't see you as a person. He doesn't care about your life goals and your person self. He just sees you as this object in his little fantasy land in his fucking mind. And he wants to put you in his basement city. Like, 2 months in the basement city, if you escape that shit, you gonna come back and your apartment is gonna be emptied out. They gonna throw your shit in the garbage. You ain't got no place to live. You gonna have to start from scratch. These niggas don't care. The goal is for you not to survive or to be there forever. But anyways, so it turns out to be this white dude, like, he's rich. I guess he's a financier or some shit like that. He's a big name in the city. I forgot what he was. And so the white dude is like low-key stalking this white lady that just happened to buy some food from his food truck that he was at when he had his like mask on or some shit. He got this weird ass mask that he likes to wear. It's weird. And so he basically makes a dating app and decides that he's going to get in touch with her and try to, take her out and put her in his basement city, right? She don't know that though. So she go on the first date thinking like he used a totally different person picture too. He catfished her. So she went on the first date, sees him there, and is like, "Oh no, you catfished me. Fuck you, nigga." And like he's like, "Well, cause I'm famous, and so please just give me a chance, please." And shit, like low key, like. I would have left, but nigga, this is what women be talking about. Like men be like, "Oh well, you picked wrong, and you should have seen the signs." These niggas be acting. They got game. They be acting. He's acting like he's awkward and I'm so and endearing and shit. Like. And the only reason that we can see it is because we watching a fucking TV show. If this is in real life and you catch me on a bad day and I'm feeling extra lonely and you come up to me and start talking some shit and it sounds real and I'm attracted to you, nigga, no telling. But still, like, shit like this makes me still be cautious. Like, I don't know if you could catch me on a bad day. I'm too scary like that. I don't, So anyway, she decided to go on a date with him, right? And so they talking for a few weeks or whatever. And then finally, I guess she's looking for a new job. So he gets her an interview with somebody at the Ritz Hotel. I guess she's a concierge or some shit. And like, he basically is like, "Well, your interview's tomorrow. I was thinking maybe you could come early in the morning and I could help you with your resume and practice the interview with you." And she's like, "I don't know because... I don't really know you like that, and I don't think that coming to your house would be..." And then he's just like, "Well, let me..." Acting all awkward and endearing and shit. "I didn't mean to..." And then he's like, "Well, just know that, I'm going to make some bacon and some coffee tomorrow morning, and the door will be open if you want to come." Like, that's how he played it. I hate niggas. So he baiting the bitch, acting like he's regular and shit. So she come to his house, and of course, like, he's basically like... He made her mimosas. She didn't want to drink the mimosas, but then he was like, "But I noticed that you keep hand sanitizer. Now you can't even have hand sanitizers. Now niggas gonna get you with the hand sanitizer." And now I gotta be scared of the damn hand sanitizer, some shit that you need to keep you from getting sick from these motherfuckers with COVID and all sorts of illnesses. Now you gotta be scared. I'm tired. So anyways, he put some hand sanitizer by the door, and there was some drug in it that goes to your skin and shit, like on the news where they be putting paper in your door on your car door, and if you touch it you could die. He put some shit like that in the hand sanitizer. And so she passed out, wake up, and she tied to a motherfucking chair. Now back to, to Cross. He out here trying to find this killer. trying to figure out who it is and stuff like that. And he going from house to house talking to people, and then at the same time, he's like I said, he's just grieving the whole show. Like he having these angry outbursts. He's dating this one woman, gorgeous woman, and like he the first time they tried to have sex, he froze because he still miss his wife and stuff. He be having flashbacks of his wife and his partner, Old Spice is over here like, nigga, go to therapy. I love how he calls him sugar. So obviously they're country, but like Washington D.C. is in Virginia, so so obviously they're country. And so like come to find out, the girl that used to date the freedom fighter, she has his phone and has a recording of something that took place between him and like the person that tried to kill him, right? So she has his phone, so they're trying to find her, right? And so like there's this other the henchman of Ramsey is this black dude. I think he used to be a cop or a detective or private, I don't know, but he'd be up in the police office on a regular, so they know who the fuck he is. So he is basically like an extroverted sociopath, and Ramsey is an introverted sociopath. So introverted sociopaths are like more cool and calm and calculated and shit. They have a goal. They're building up to a grand finale and all this other shit. Extroverted sociopaths are the wild cards. They just be doing shit. They just be killing. They don't have a plan. They don't have nothing. They just be doing shit based off how they feel. So that's that nigga. He just out here, and I still don't understand why is he like the henchman of this dude. Like maybe I missed it. Y'all could tell me, but I don't understand why he's the henchman of this white man. I guess this white man is paying him millions of dollars to do this random shit for him. Whatever. I think he wanted to buy a building and the white man was supposed to give him $2 million for taking out the dude's girlfriend and shit. And he never got that money. So someone else bought the building. But anyways, the dude's girlfriend is in hiding, right? So she's in hiding. And so dude finds where she's at. Like Cross is looking for her. The news reporter lady is looking for her. And the thing is too, it's kind of cool is that all the bosses and the chief in the police office is women. They're like white women, but they're all women. One's pregnant, one's like in a wheelchair, she got a disability. I think they're trying to show like anybody can be an actor, bitch. And that's a vibe. So anyways, dude finds her first in the hotel. This is the funniest shit. Dude finds her first in the hotel and then gets a room next to the girl. This is the dude's girlfriend that died. And she's like caught right when she's calling the the news reporter to come get her and shit, and so she gonna give him the phone and stuff. This dude is in the other room in a thong doing cocaine, dancing around with his little penis. I love it. This is amazing. His little penis bobbing everywhere. He having a time of his life. He getting himself ready for murder. And I was just like, what the fuck is this nigga doing in his thong? Oh my God. So anyway, right before the lady come and get this little girl, he's in the room with her, torturing her, like, give me the phone. This is a bad bitch. She would not give him the phone. She wouldn't tell him nothing. And so somehow, some way, Alex figure out where the fuck she is. So he's on his way to get this bitch out this room. And right when he show up, the nigga hear him come and slice her throat, jump out the window, and then this nigga bursts in the room and and he having flashbacks of his wife, and then he's trying to get her to tell him who did it, and she over there choking to death on her own blood. And I'm just like, hijinks. That's what I call it when in action movies action happens. Hijinks ensue. Hijinks ensued. And so they didn't figure out who it was at that point, but they did get the phone. I think he dropped it or some shit. All the way on the other side of the town, rich nigga is over here like He's dyeing the bitch hair so she looks like Eileen Warnos. He's telling her stories. And the bitch is slick. She trying to get up out of this bitch. So she trying to use her vagina to get up. She's using every fucking avenue to get up out this bitch, okay? She trying to act like she believes in his cause and shit. Low key, she's just trying to use her vagina to get up. Sometimes when you're in a situation that you can't get out of, sometimes you just gonna have to take the sexual assault. As long as you live, as long as I'm alive, I'll get therapy afterwards, bitch. I want to live. Sometimes that's what, just like they said, like if you get mugged, just give them the shit. Sometimes you just gotta give them the shit. Just here, you want this? I'll give you this if you let me. But she don't understand that this is a cool, calm, introverted, calculated sociopath who may or may not be homosexual, because I feel in my spirit that he's a homosexual, and it's not because of any derogatory shit. He just give off, I like penises and I don't like this, or actually not even that. He give off, I'm you know how they have these like homosexually coded villains and shit, and they always blonde and they always got like a little lispy voice. Sometimes he got a little lispy voice and he got the blonde hair, and so I feel like her efforts were in vain from jump. And so she's sitting up with him just like, I believe in your cause and I believe in da 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 and I da 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 da. And come to find out, like, he knew she was fucking around and he drugs her again. And this shit fucked me up, because I got my teeth done because I had the hypoplasia and shit, and so it's been years, and this has been something that was waiting for years to happen. I had fucked up teeth and shit. I was so upset about it for years. So to have this nigga, because Eileen Warnos had crowded teeth in the front and this bitch had to be perfectly her, to have this nigga go and take a fucking a chisel to this bitch teeth. He took a chisel to this bitch teeth and broke them all in the front. And then he took a thing and put it in her mouth to like get and my thing was, when he put the thing in her mouth to get the little cast for it, I was just like, all you gotta do is grind it back and forth. That's why they tell you to be completely still when you at the dentist, because they need to have it perfect. All you gotta do this. You didn't even have to keep your mouth. He can't stop you from doing this. Do this real quick. Fuck up the cast. No, at this point, I don't give a fuck. You obviously gonna kill me. The vagina trick didn't work, I'm gonna do what I need to do. But I guess she wasn't thinking about it. She wasn't, That's fine, girl. Use this as extenuating circumstances. You got locked in the basement. And so, like, what happens? So, like, was that before or after they broke into it? For somehow they found the first safe house he had her in too. So go back to Alex Cross, and somehow he found the first safe house that he had her in, right? I think it was because of recording on the phone, wherever it ticked off or whatever happened. And so they went to search the house and wasn't nobody in there. Nothing was in there. The butler following them around, talking, hey, there's no one in here, there's nothing in here, da, da, da. And so they got another tip or something to go back to the house, and basically they used a sledgehammer to try to break the door down. They found like a hollow wall or some shit, used a sledgehammer to break the shit down. And while they're sledgehammering it, dude is on the phone with little extroverted sociopath talking about, get her out of there. I need her and the book because that's his masterpiece or some shit. And basically he had to cough up $2.2 million for this nigga to get her out of there. So he gets her out of there, right? But he drops the book, and that's how they figure out that this is a serial killer, because in the beginning, that's what happened. In the beginning, they didn't want to believe that it was they wanted to believe that the black dude just committed suicide and cut his hair off and ate pork, even though he was Muslim. Like, they just wanted to believe that shit. And so Alex had to fight for that shit to get black people seen and shit. And I was just like, is this how it is in the books? Like, is he fighting for black people in the books like this? Because a white man wrote this, so I don't know. Like, I was shocked when I learned as a kid that Alex Cross is black in the books. I really thought that Morgan Freeman was playing some white man's part. I was just like, oh, he's writing about black people. Wow. Still didn't read them books. That was not my genre. That was not my genre growing up. It's still not my genre. It's 17 some books of him being an action hero. I mean, it's just not my genre. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, literally, you see me calling the action parts hijinks ensue. Like, it's boring. Get to the plot. Get to him being depressed. Yeah. And so basically, like, they had to fight for it because dude had diabetes, but overdosed on meth, and like he knew he wouldn't have touched meth. He smoked cigarettes and did weed or some shit like that. He wouldn't have touched meth because he would have went into a diabetic coma or some shit like that would happen. So like all the stuff about the dude's personality is saying that he wouldn't have killed himself, especially not like this. And the white police is just like, well, why not? Because they don't see us as the human beings that we are. So obviously we have to just put the mask of it's the niggers. Niggers always do nigger shit. So what's the big all of these evidential clues and shit like that? I'm tired. So I think he goes to the top person in the department and tells them about all the clues he's found and shit like that. And then he's like, oh no, wait a minute, this do seem like such and such. I'm tired. We gotta do all this shit. And the thing is like we don't have police in the police department doing all this shit. And the thing is the shit that happened at the end where they found the bad police officers and shit like that. I'm assuming you watched this before you watched the show before you saw this. So shit that happened at the end when they found the bad police officers, that don't happen in real life, honey. The blue code is strong and long, bitch. Like that's why you can't trust the police, period, because people get in there and they're like, I'm gonna change the world, and they realize how brainwashy and culty the police are, and that either you gonna have to go along with it or they will gather around you and ruin your fucking life. So shit like that, them niggas getting found out and all these police officers getting arrested, that shit don't happen in real life, honey. But in Alex Cross dimension, it do. And so that's why I say this is a different dimension. We're not even going to pretend like that happens in our dimension, but in Alex Cross dimension, in the land of the giants, shit like that happens. So anyways, then he goes to the house, doesn't find nothing, right? Then finds some more evidence or some shit like that to go back to the house with a sledgehammer, knocks the shit down. Dude gets her out of there, but leaves the book. They find the book, and then that's when everybody realizes a serial killer and shit on the loose. And so anyways, he moves her to his other house. This is a rich white man, honey. And into the wine cellar, and he's getting these like cabinets built or something built to hold her in the wine cellar, right? And like the worker dudes are like there, and she try to like get them to notice her and shit. And I'm just like, what would I do in that situation? Because that nigga be killing people and shit. Would I risk another person's life to save mine and shit, knowing that nigga could have just showed up at any point in time? We don't know where that nigga is in the house. No, because I be thinking like that when I'm anxious. When I'm anxious, I be thinking of all the possibilities and shit. So this is a reality of mine. Like most people would probably just do the shit and not think when they get anxious. When I get anxious, I be thinking of 10, 1,500 possibilities and shit. So I ought to be under there like, oh, fuck, he gonna get, like, I don't know where this nigga is and da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-ba. I probably would have made the noise when the two builders were in the house, right in front of the cabinet. Because he's not going to kill her, because that would ruin his masterpiece, right? So, but if I'm going to try to save myself, I'm going to save myself when there's multiple niggas that could take this motherfucker down. And so, she got one of them niggas killed. It is what it is. She was trying to escape. And, he probably has a family. God bless that character's family and children. And I truly believe that, the art we create, books and movies and shit and shows, like maybe that those are other dimensions. Maybe in another dimension, this shit is real. So, that could be a real person in another dimension. God bless him. People think I'm crazy. Oh well, bitch. Anyways, so like he killed, and then that's when he knocks her fucking teeth out. Or he might have did it when he was at the other house. One of them places. I don't fucking know. But that shit fucked with me. I don't. The fucking and then you had her teeth remade into some shit that looked like how they looked, and and you got to be careful playing with these dead people on here like this. I was looking at this post on Facebook, and it was saying how, like, on the craft, when they were like, the deity that they made up on the craft was fake, right? But when they were calling the corners, every time they called the corners, shit like on the beach and shit like the ocean waves were rising and the electricity went off and shit was spiritually happening as they were calling on this fake deity. And I just, you don't fuck with spiritual things like that. Like, I believe in spirits. Like, you got this show calling on these serial killing motherfuckers and shit and making this nigga make this. And Eileen Warnos was a vindicative spirit. She was trying to kill these niggas that was raping niggas, and you got this bitch sitting in a downstairs basement somewhere knocking her teeth out. I know it's fake, but still, just like on The Exorcist, where and Poltergeist, where all that shit was happening on set and stuff. I'm just saying, just be careful when you fucking around with spirits and of real people. Is all I'm saying. Is the shit's done hit. It is, and the Kahlua is making me hyper. That's why I don't drink coffee like that. And so, like, he knocked the bitch teeth out, and it's so upsetting, and it's so gross. And anyways, Alex is like perturbed because he didn't find a nigga, but he doing his Sherlock Holmes thing on the books, and he comes up with this whole profile for this nigga. He needs to be seen as a god. He's an artiste. He's been put on a pedestal. He's and I was like, he is a beautiful. Every scene that he didn't have a shirt on. There was this one scene where the child was playing the piano and shit, because he got this woman to come into the house and help teach his child piano. My mom did that when I was a kid. It was this white woman and shit, and I went to her for a little bit to learn the piano, but I stopped going to her after a while because, like, apparently my mom just said that she wasn't showing up to appointments and shit. I don't fucking know. But apparently it's a thing for old school black people to have their kids learn the piano. I don't fucking know. That's probably connected to some black history thing that I'm not looking up. Y'all can look it up. You look up piano and how it's related to black people and shit. Behind, like it's like teaching our kids how to play it and shit. Like, are we copying white folks? Like, what are we doing? Like, I want to know. Anyways. There's a scene where he was playing the piano, the little baby and shit, and this nigga came up, and the way that his turtleneck molded to his body and the back of his body, and I love a good back, a good strong back. And then I was watching this and I realized, like, I'm gonna need a little bit more body fat percentage for my muscular nigga. Like, I like the way this nigga looked, but he looked too hard, and I'm a squishy person. I like to squish. It's a neurodivergent thing. I like to squish squishy things. And I like a little fatty muscle. I like a little belly and shit. You don't need to have a whole six pack. I need something just leave me alone. But his back, y'all, like, his back. Stop repeating it, bitch. Anyways, he's trying to work through his grief. Everyone's telling him to go to therapy, and then he goes to this dude's birthday party. Right, the whole time his girl, the woman he's dating, I don't fucking know. She's trying to get him to go to this event with her for her business, and then the dude Ramsey's supposed to be there. This is before he knew Ramsey was the killer. But they realize that the woman has like this rash on her body, right? The victim, she has this rash on her body, right? And Ramsey needs the bitch to be just like Eileen Warnos and shit. So she got to be perfect. So she has to take this special ointment for this rash, right? And they only sell it 3 places in Washington, D.C. And da-da-da-da-da. And so, like, they find out who bought it, but it's the name of like some serial killer from some movie. So they figure out over and over, they follow the name until they finally get this nigga on a video. And then that's when he realizes it's Ramsey. And so, like, he then says yes to going to the party because he didn't want to go. And I feel I'm on the fence because, like, I had to rule out, like, you know how niggas treat black women and shit and how they treat us like objects and don't give a shit. I had to rule that out because his wife was black. Now, if his wife was a white woman and he was just pedestalizing her and treating this black woman like this, how he did at that house, I'd be like, oh, like he just using her as a no, but his wife was black, so I think it was just grief. I think it was just grief that made him not give a shit. I think he really wanted to win this case and he didn't give a shit and he put her in danger. No, because you got me in the same room with an evil nigga and you didn't tell me. You didn't fucking tell me. That's a problem. Like, I know, like, he wanted, but what if this evil nigga had snapped and killed me in the hallway when you wasn't paying attention, nigga? Like, you wasn't, like, she was alone so many times with this nigga, and this man was just nowhere to be seen, and I was just like, why is she alone with this nigga? And then finally he pops up and, like, realizes she's alone with this nigga. She been alone with this nigga for at least 5 minutes, honey. He could have killed her immediately and dragged her into some like secret hallway or some shit. You would have never found this. I'm tired. No, it pissed me off. You put her in danger. You put her in danger. And I was mad with her when she was mad. I was like, I know the girl. I know he put you in danger and shit. So he has his birthday party and he goes to the birthday party knowing this nigga's a serial killer. Girl don't know. She don't know this nigga's a serial killer. And, like, she's just, at the party trying to network and do her thing and all this other shit. And, like, he watching this nigga, and then they both doing this little catty, witty, back and forth bullshit, knowing who each other is and shit. And lo and behold, they in the same house with the wine cellar that the victim's in, right? And so, like, he goes down to the wine cellar, and she's a bad bitch, right? She broke a bottle of wine and got herself up out that fucking chair and then waited for that nigga to come. Golly, I wish she had stabbed him in the neck instead of the fucking side. I was just like, oh, God. But it's like, you got one shot at the neck when you got a knife or a gun, or not a gun, a knife, or you using like a throat chop and shit. You got one shot at the neck and you got to have good aim. And then when you wobbly like that, when you wobbling and shit and you scared and you anxious, you ain't gonna have good aim. So she went for the widest part that she know would give her a higher percentage of stabbery. I've thought about this. Let that know them niggas that want to objectify me and put me in they motherfucking basement city, bitch. I've thought of many things in many ways, and I am a big bitch. Don't fuck with me. So she get him in the side, right? And then she run out and she trying to open the door and figure out how to get out. And girl, I was with this bitch. I wanted her to get away so bad, but then I realized this is only like episode 4 or 5 or some shit. It's 8 episodes. Fuck. And so she get out, right? She get out and she get into the garden area, and this white congresswoman sees her, but because Ramsey got shit over everybody that he uses. He got some type of blackmailery type shit over everybody he used, right? So, like, basically, when he was just like an intern for her, right? She told him to go to this like abandoned building and get this box of shit, right? But she told him to burn the box, right? Come to find out, he never burned the box, and in the box was all of her husband's, like, he was doing stuff to the children and the babies and shit, okay? And, like, not only that, he had been following that nigga on trips and filming more recent shit of him doing stuff with the babies and shit, right? So he had recent videos, he had the old school shit, he had that shit over her. And I'm just like, see, that's what I mean when I say you do one nefarious thing and it just falls out like a domino. And now you in a situation where you know this nigga's a serial killer. And you can't say shit because you don't want your position in the world to be disrupted because your husband does things to babies that are horrible and the devil. And that's why I can't be with people. Bring it back around town, bitch, to wicked. I can't be with people in their bad person era. You don't know how deep it goes. You don't know how long that shit's gonna last. And they could actually just be a bad person. Like, she's just a bad person. You don't cape for a nigga that does shit to babies. Okay? Okay. So anyways, I'm hypey, bitch. Like, this shit got me. You throw some fine niggas in a room and they got a good plot, a good storyline, and they skin look pretty and they backs looks muscular and shit. I'm with it. I'm with it, nigga. So, anyways, anyways, so she sees the girl run out, and the girl is like, she breaks another glass, and she trying to fight this nigga off. This bitch just standing there looking at her. She don't open the door, and then she's bad bitch. She knew this nigga was gonna get her, so what she did was she sliced her fucking face up, because the bitch gotta be perfectly looking like Eileen Wuornos, or this nigga didn't want her. And so, like, he punches her, knocks her out before, and then he look at the Congress bitch and be like, don't say shit, and then drags her off into the ether. And I'm just like, almost got away, but almost doesn't count. In this situation, it does, though, because that's a bad bitch. She was brave. She was brave, because if she hadn't have shown herself to the congresswoman wouldn't have told Cross later on that she saw that bitch downstairs and shit. And so, anyways, Cross realizes, because he comes back upstairs, right? He staples his cut in his side and takes a shower and puts on another black button up and comes back upstairs, right? And try to act like it. And then he got these little black children singing choir music. I don't know what that is, but they have a story to tell now, because they can tell all their friends how they sang the choir music at the serial killer's house. Yeah, that's a story, and they survived. That's some shit that you can tell on the playground. Remember, go back to being a child. Go back to being in the 9th grade and shit. That's some shit that you can tell everybody on the playground and look like a fucking superhero, and you would be the most popular bitch in school. So good for them and their recently found popularity. Some of them are going to be traumatized. Everybody reacts to things like that differently. Some of them are going to be traumatized and need therapy, but some of them are going to know how to use that shit to their advantage and get ahead. And some of them are going to be traumatized and get therapy and then use that shit to their advantage and get that's going to be their sob story that they put in their essay to college, because these predominantly white institution needs to hear how you're suffering and then how you persevered in order to let you into their institutions, because white people like to be entertained by our suffering. So anyways, Cross wilds out at this nigga's party. He realized this nigga done changed his shirt, took a shower, he holding his side like some shit happened. He's like, she's downstairs. She's downstairs. And I'm just like, I was like, on the one hand, if you in the moment and know someone's life is hanging on the line, you don't want to save them immediately. On the other hand, being the professional that you are in that business that you're in, you would also know that you have to finesse this shit, or if you do too much, they might die too fast before you could get them. And so I feel like them things combined, and that nigga just decided to wild the fuck out and let everybody know that bitch was downstairs, and then he made himself look crazy. And got kicked out the party, and his girl's mad at him because he put her around serial killer energy. No, nigga, like, that's the energy. That is the devil himself. And like, I feel bad for the bitches that be married to them niggas and shit. You had serial killer penis all up inside of you. I'd shove some sage in my damn vagina. Fuck. How do I get it out? Because you never know. These niggas are crazy. So you never know until you see some shit on the news years later. Such and such killed 20 motherfuckers. And you was just like, what? Him? Devontae was... Jamari did... I mean, he was an asshole when I knew him, but that's why every red flag looks the same in the beginning, so you have to treat them all the same, because you never know where they lead or what someone's edge is. end up with some serial killer dick inside you, and you just got all that energy up inside you, all the, oh god, dead bodies and shit. Like, I was watching this movie, I don't know why I was watching this, and I was looking at, like, when he killed the coroner at the end. Like I said, I'm assuming you watched this already. When he killed the coroner at the end, I was just looking at the coroner, and I was just like, look at him messing with dead people all day. He just got death all on him and shit. I couldn't fuck a coroner. No, I can't fuck nobody that got death on them all the time. Like, there are people that will, though. See, you gotta have your standards. These are my standards. I'm not saying that it's wrong because you helping people in a certain way, but like, you got that energy on you and shit of death, and I don't fuck with that. I don't. Oh, just thinking about it, it's giving me chills. I don't. That ain't me, but it is for other people. Other people probably would love it. Like, you know, you're not a bad person or nothing. You ain't like a serial killer. Like, they taking lives. Like, them lives don't belong to them. You helping people and getting them ready to go to the other side and shit. And that is a magical thing. Don't ever touch me, though, cause your hands just be touching death all the time, and you know how you be smelling like the place you work at and shit? Like, you ain't enough baths. So these niggas that be working in the sewers and shit, like, I've read Reddits about that shit, how ain't enough scrubs they can do to get that smell off of them completely. And I just, But God bless all of the people that be helping the dead people cross to the other, in the name of Jesus. So anyway, he get kicked out the house. His girl is mad. All this other shit happens, and then he goes on like this little road trip with his son because like his son got it. So basically, at the party, in order to get back across and make him look crazy, this nigga released a video of Cross beating down some man because he thought the man knew about, you know, this black man. He knew about like how his wife was murdered or some shit because he worked at the store and he had a record and blah blah blah. And come to find out he was wrong and all this other stuff, and it was not okay, and the man didn't know nothing, and he didn't know this nigga and shit like that. So they released the video, right? And then Cross is suspended, you know, for however long. And the black community's mad at him again, and you know, because that's what I mean, you in the situation. But in this world, you know, it seems like they're trying to fix that. And so this is another dimension. So we're not even gonna Right, this is another whole different dimension. Anyways, the land of the giants. Right. Anyways, so he takes his son, like, while he's suspended, he takes, like, his son gets in a fight at school. Come to find out it's because the kids was showing the video. He takes his son on, like, this road trip to talk about, like, you know, why he got in a fight and all, and he shouldn't be getting in fights, and it was wrong. And then he admits that he was wrong for what he did, and he was a bad person that day, and da-da-da-da-da. And then his son wants to talk to him about his mom, and he can't do it. He just like shut that shit down immediately, and then his son wouldn't talk to him for like a good rest of the episode. And I think that was the episode where we saw him with his back. We saw him with. There was this one scene where he was like, I think he was getting out the shower and he had this towel. You know what? He's a married man, but I can pretend. I can look. I would never ever, because you know. Not that, but like just in general, like married, taken, I would never in real life do that because that's disgusting, and you know, it's wrong. Like, I'm not about to hurt no black woman, like, and I'm not about to hurt no other woman. Like, I don't want to traumatize nobody. Like, I really try my best to do things that don't traumatize people, because like when I was younger, I was just popping off at the mouth, just saying shit just off the top of my motherfucking head and shit, and it was wrong. And I was just being overly blunt and just standing in shit that was shit and it wasn't real. And I probably said some shit to hurt some people, and it wasn't okay, and I'm sorry. But like, I'll be at this point in time in my life at 37 years old, I have really tried not to do things or say things that traumatize people. So I just couldn't. No, like, you have to be active with it, like, because people will be attractive and you'll have like urges, like physical urges. That's a normal response. But literally, you just gotta shut that shit down and be like, no, and then stand in it. Like, just make yourself stand in it. So think of something in your life that you had to force yourself to do, even though it was uncomfortable or it hurt, and you went through with it. Like, if you worked out and got to a certain point where you bulked up, but in the beginning you just hated it, was horrible, and you just wanted to stop, and you wanted to go back to eating the cheeseburgers and doing the stuff, and it was fine. Or like, you learned another language and it took you 6 years to do, but but you never gave it, like shit like that. Like, you sat there and held that, and you said, I'm gonna do what I need to do. So why can't you sit there and hold your fucking genitals together and get your shit together? Like, I do it all the time. Like, and then the longer I just ignore it, eventually it just goes away. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a normal urge. It's like breathing. I see something beautiful, I'm gonna have a physical reaction. That's why your psychological brain is attached to your physical body, because your brain is an organ, bitch. So when you see something that makes you feel emotional and then gives you a physical reaction, like crying or laughing, or like, why would you think you wouldn't see something that would just give you a physical reaction of arousal? Just general arousal. And like, you could just sit there on it, just like you do with tears or with laughter, and then eventually it just goes away. I don't understand why. See, that's one of them things I be talking about. Like, I be logicalizing shit, and it makes sense to me, and then I really don't understand why other people don't. It don't make sense to other people. And then I be like, I be trying, but like, sometimes I be mean about, like, what the fuck is wrong with this? So no, I would never do some shit like that. Like, I would actively try on a regular basis to never do, like, I don't put myself in situations where men can try me. Like, I don't. Like, I'm ready to throat punch you and shit if you do some shit. Like, no, like, a violent reaction will happen if you try me, because I just, like, no, nigga, like, you trying to, like, you doing too much. So, like, oh, look, he cute and shit, nigga, like, this a beautiful fucking man, but, like, that nigga married and shit, so, like, it's like looking at a painting. It's a pretty painting. Like, Michelangelo's, that nigga ain't cute. It's like how people be calling Ted Bundy cute. That nigga got a big ass nose, his eyes be all fucked up looking and shit. Let me shut up. But anyways, so like, he was like the child would not talk to him for like the rest of the episode. So finally, some shit happens where it makes him realize that he needs to talk to his child about grief and shit. So he finally sat up there and talked to his child about grief, but he didn't go to therapy. So at this point, I'm just like, so through all this, there's been random like stalkery type shit happening through all the episodes and stuff. Like, he's getting flowers and and he's not sure who it is, so he's trying to figure out who this person stalking him is. And so at some point, he's being followed by this raggedy looking white woman and stuff. And I was just like, because the way it was set up, it looked like these people were a little bit smart and they like were assassin type people and shit like that. So when I saw this white woman looking like all bedraggled and like, she been going through some shit following him around, I was just like, she was shaky and anxious and shit, and I was like, is this the bitch trying to stalk him? Like, and come to find out, this white woman is like a prison guard at this prison where he had testified against this little white girl that had supposedly killed this man. It's just brutally, just hit him in the head, like had tortured him for like hours, and then like had him on the floor and hit him in the head with a bat like 9 times and some shit like that. And so, like, he's told them that she was unsavable and shit. And then he feels bad about it because he's just like, I shouldn't say that people are unsavable. Everybody's savable and shit. If they want to be saved. No, and that's what it is. There are some people that do not want to be saved. There's some people that just don't want it. So, with that logic, there are some people that are not savable because they do not want to be saved. And once you realize that, you know who to work with and who not to work with. And that's that. Like, you can't force motherfuckers to be saved. Like, you can't if they don't like. I've been talking to my clients all this week about like when you are like a people pleaser, you're on this end of the spectrum, the extreme. And when you're an abuser, you're on like this end of the spectrum, the other extreme, right? Both of them are on the spectrum of manipulation. People pleasers manipulate because they think that if they do such and such and such and such, you're going to like them better. So they're trying to mold you into, and they're also trying to like mold you into this perfect person that they see you to be, and da 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 da. And they refuse to just see you as you are, this flawed human being that can't be around humans. Right now, man, you know, your bad person era, like, it's like, you know, like right now, but like maybe you'll have the inclination to work on yourself later, and you can be around the peoples. You never know. You never know. There's always a percentage of chance, but a lot of times people just die like this. And so, like, abusers manipulate because they like to see the puppet dance and they like to get shit from you and shit. Like, they want shit or they want to entertain themselves. That's still wanting shit from you. Like, they just want shit from you. That's all. Until you're drained dry and there's nothing left. And then you gotta like rebuild yourself and shit. But it's all the extremes of the spectrum of manipulation. So like, no, like, are they see you at they don't see you as who you really are. Like when you're a people pleaser, right? And so like, there's a lot of people out here that are truly believing that these people are going to change, and they do all this stuff to try to get them to change, and it's not going to happen. It's not. And you gotta realize when you're tired, because this person is not going to change. And I think like what he was talking about, like, I feel like it was valid. I mean, you don't say it out loud. It's one of those quiet parts that you don't say out loud, okay? Because there's always a possibility of change. Even if it's 0.0000 such and whatever. There's always a possibility of change, but I don't think you can impact that in a positive way by saying negative shit. You know, like, this person knows who they are. They keep doing the same shit over and over and over again. They know what they're doing. And so, you know, no, I don't think I feel like the bad part was he said the quiet part out loud. But basically it turns out that, you know, the foster brother of this girl is out for revenge. He got the whatchamacallit, the CO, the correctional officer, to chase him down. And you know, so then eventually he finds all this out, right? And he's trying to make sure that his family's protected, because this dude isn't going to give up. He's trying to go after like everybody in the family, right? And at some point they get into the house and they're having this family karaoke night or whatever. And the phone call that he made to the police is on the karaoke machine, and they realize somebody hacked into their shit, right? And so he sends the kids away to like this cabin in the woods. And while all this is happening, they're still looking for the killer. Like they call him the fanboy now, right? So like, he's suspended, but he's still low key in the background working on the case and stuff. And he eventually finds a witness to Ramsey killing somebody, and he filmed it. Like, what's going? I'm tired. These arrogant ass fucking. That's how the introverted sociopath gets caught. They get clumsy because they get so arrogant that they just let shit. They can't be, because they can't. They're not built to be content with anything. So even if he had completed this and gotten away with it, he would not be content with that. I promise you. They're not built like that. They're not built bad like that, bitch. And so yeah, that's how they get caught. They're arrogant and they mess up. And so of course he has some evidence out there of some tape that he left, and he knew the dude had the tape, right? But he left him just be out there like it's a game or some shit. I mean, but it is. To him it is. And so they find this dude that used to be in this band that they used to mimic like sacrifices on the stage, and like that's also a part of like when you like fuck around with spiritual shit. That's nefarious shit. You doing nefarious shit, and even more bad shit happened. It's look, now you're dead. This nefarious red flag led to your death. See, I don't fuck with shit like no, cause I want to live a long, happy, beautiful life. Anyways, so like apparently this dude wanted to do like a mock sacrifice in his home with some dude and shit, and he was gonna take pictures of it and be like photographer, artist shit. But in reality, this nigga wanted him to kill this nigga, and so he talks him and coerces him into holding the knife over the nigga's chest so he can take a picture, and he takes his hand and slams that bitch down into that, and the man dies. And I'm just like, that's horrible. And so it's all on tape, it's all filmed, and so he goes into like witness protection at a hotel. That shit pissed me off because I was just like, why? I watch too many movies, and I just feel like, why you got him like at this hotel where the patrol's gonna come by once every hour? I don't, whatever, girl. So he ends up dead, and the person that ends up killing him is one of the chiefs in the police department. She's pregnant, right? This is pregnant bitch. Come to find out, and at some point during the show, like all Old Spice nigga and whatchamacallit, Cross got into an argument because when he got suspended, they not talking, right? So they doing this shit separately, right? And so and then the police officer that was pregnant, and so he goes to her house, right? And like, cause Cross figures out it was her when they made up and shit, because they're friends and shit, and they were gonna make up anyways. They're like bros. It was so cute. He was like, you know, you had me at motherfucker, and I was like, ooh, it was so cute. They look so cute. It was so cute. It's so they ended up being friends again, and then he finds out that it was that chick, that pregnant chick that killed the witness, right? So she's basically like, well, Ramsey promised to, like, because she's with like a woman, right? And so they wanted to have a baby, and so Ramsey got them to the best fertility such and such, and she's pregnant, and so she got what she wanted. So she's like, fuck it, I got my baby. And I'm just like, girl, nefarious 1 leads to nefarious 10. So she basically gives up, and before she gives up, she asks Old Spice nigga to I think his name is Muhammad or some girl, Old Spice nigga, and she asked him to like be the godfather of her baby and take care of her baby, and she got him to say yes, and she's all like, I knew that if I got you to say yes, you would be honest and better And so she turns herself in, right? And then they end up like realizing, because Ramsey sent this bitch when she cut her face, he sent her to like a plastic surgeon that's also a sociopath. This makes me think of The Sandman, you know, the show on Netflix, how like they had the convention with all like the serial killers and shit, like they're just among us. They're just among us. And she did some type of inner like sewing shit to her cheek so that the scar wouldn't show as much on her face. It was like a whole thing. And like he finds her, and then she like sedates him, but he leaves her cell phone in her bag like she's a dummy. And so no, we're gonna criminal in a smart way. Um but who knows, like I don't know. So he ends up finding Cross, like Old Spice nigga ends up finding Cross. They go to they follow her. They catch Ramsey in the act of killing the bitch that he made look like Eileen Warnos and shit. And so they get her, and then he he escapes. But then they go to his house. He's at his house, and he sticks a needle in his jaw, and then he's like dead, like he poisoned himself. But in reality, like this was the twist at the end. He didn't poison himself. It just made him seem like he was dead. Like, but what if the nigga had like started working on you first, like the coroner? Like, what if he had just started work and you, girl? He said, I'll go to any lengths for my arts. I know, honey. And so he like gets up, and then he goes into her hospital room, pretends to be the doctor, and then Cross realizes it at some point, and then he's behind him with the gun, like, and they arrest him and they send him to jail. And it's a fucked up. I like how they did this. They did it in a way where it was like they made the serial killer look like the clown that he fucking was. Like they made him look like a bitch at the end. Like he was crying over his fucking book, and they burned it, and they showed like he just wanted the attention. That's the extreme of abusers, is that deep down they just crave attention because of abandonment issues, whether they're emotionally, physically, mentally abandoned. Like they crave that attention. And so when you crave attention to the extreme, you do shit like that. Like killing a bunch of people and shit, and going down in the history books, because we're a world run by sociopaths, and so we have to keep rehashing all of the greatest serial killer hits on every show and every movie, and cause why not? The people that run us keep that shit alive because they want to be immortalized just like that. Anyways, so he's all mad and he's being bitching out because they ripping his book up, and I'm famous, and they're only going to charge him for the two killings, which in reality, like the other families would like to know where their such and whatever's is at. But I didn't really like that part, but and then on the other end with the stalker, so he sends his family away to this cabin, right? With the piano teacher. That's her cabin, right? I didn't even expect this shit. So the piano teacher is the foster mother to the little white girl and the little foster brother. And she was the one that put the music, the phone call and the karaoke machine, all the shit. And so she basically wants to get revenge because the girl committed suicide in jail, right? But come to find out, Cross does his little Sherlock Holmes situation. And basically is like, oh, you told her to tell them that she was the one that did it. The mom told the little white girl to tell them that she was the one that did it because she wanted to save her son's life. Now I think that was her biological son, and and then the son realizes it because she wants him to kill one of the kids because she's like, well, I took a wife, but I want one of your kids now. See, these niggas never end. Like, they keep fucking with you. Like, that nigga would not have been done when the book was done. He would have probably looked up one day and been like, I want to do a sequel. I know you do, bitch. I know you do. I know you want to do a sequel. You're a bitch. And so basically, like, there's a shootout and hijinks ensue. Somebody, like, the bitch sets herself on fire. The man, I think, gets shot or some shit, and he dies. And then everybody lives happily ever after so far until the next season. They got like 3 episodes of the next season posted on IMDb, so I'm assuming there's gonna be a next season with more backs and. And so, like, and then the tall bitch gets back with him, and he apologizes for putting her near serial killer energy, and I just think she said in her head, like, I'll put up with this. I'll put up with my life being in danger. I'll put up. He's a good man, Savannah. She takes one look at that back and says, he's not mean to me, and he's consistent, and he's kind. Just sometimes I'm just gonna have to risk my life, and I might end up like his wife. But until then, I'm gonna have the best dick of my life. Best dick of my life. Girl, I feel it. I don't care. Girl, yes. I understand. I understand. He's kind. He's not a mean person. He might not be cheating. He seemed to, like, when he loves hard and shit. And so, he might have the capacity to love her hard too. And I know he be loving her hard and shit. Oh, his wife is a lucky woman. God bless them both and their children and all the people in the world in the name of Jesus. Bitch is just tired. Just did 2 videos. Just tired. And can't wait for season 2. Did you see how wide his shoulders were apart? They were so wide. And he got that big square chest muscle where, like, if you lay your face in it, your whole head would fit. And well, that's enough for this evening. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you read the books, let me know, like, how much does it equal up to the books? Like, does it not? I just feel like a lot of this shit ain't in the books. Maybe. I read the synopsis of the first book, and it was talking about, like, how the wife died and he had 2 kids and shit, and he was black. And he said in the synopsis, he was like, he was built like Mike Tyson in his prime. And I'm just like, so how did we get Morgan Freeman? It's been the synopsis since it's been out, since the 90s or whatever. So how did Morgan, but there was some good ass movies. So I can't even, like, Morgan Freeman was doing it in the 90s. Like, Seven was amazing. Bitch, your head was in that box. I was like, what's going on? I would have shot that head too. I would have blasted that motherfucker. You took my nigga from me. Oh, God. How dare you, bitch? I would have blasted that motherfucker. Whew, I felt it when Brad Pitt did that. I said, you know what? I understand. Just like how, let's bring it full circle. I understand why this bitch would put up with her life being taken early. Well, God gave me what I want, so if it's 6 months or 60 years, it's Sarah. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Watch Cross. It's a good show. It is. I've watched it a few times, and golly, the land of the giants looks so happy and free. Too. Even the whatchamacallit, man. It's humongous. Like a tree. And in that world, they like tall black bitches, not the itty bitty. There's nothing wrong with short people. It's nothing wrong with it. It isn't. I just, shit. watch it. It's a good, a good show. Get the fuck off of here. I hope you enjoyed. Later days.